Chapter 16 The Beloved. Anami hummed as he ran behind Enoch. He is fast. Why does so much of Adam's skill still remain in this one and not the others? Anami raised the pitch of his soaring melody and increased his speed when the edge of Alvinland Forest came into view. You must not be in the open at sun sleep, Enoch. Enoch ignored the damp sting of the tall grass of the plains, whipping against his thighs, and ran faster. Praise the light! If I hurry, I can make it in just enough time to set up quarters before sun sleep. He surged ahead, focusing on the of light before the sun plunged into Adama. Good! I will make it for truth! Enoch wasted no time as he approached the forest edge. He peered into the shade of the woods, and then looked wistfully at the soft, thick greenery covering the border. This would make a nice bed. Why is he hesitating? Anami glanced around the perimeter. He didn't see anything yet. Anami looked over his shoulder and then focused on the man. Enoch, you must enter the forest. The cool mist of eve was already forming beneath Enoch's feet. By mid-eve, it would hover 2 or 3 feet from the earth and refresh the green life until clearing, and then entered quietly, tiptoeing reverently beneath the canopy of father trees, who seemed to say, hush, with a whoosh of their long, low branches rustling gently in the breeze. Enoch searched the forest floor. He picked up a twig, looked at it, and then set it aside. He kept moving further in as he searched for it. No, that's not right. Enoch picked up another loose branch and then set it aside. He did this again and again. Anami looked around too and focused his thoughts toward the man. What are you looking for? Enoch snapped a twig in two and flung it. Anami ducked instinctively as it whizzed by his head, back and forth, kicking up dirt. No, that's not it either. Some tracker you are. Cannot even find wood for the fire. Ever since the favor of the Ancient One rested upon him at the ceremony of the bearer, Enoch found it hard to concentrate on the simple things. He found himself drifting. His mind would simply wander. He would think of that other place. He saw people that no one else could see. What is wrong with me? I used to be able to do this faster than anyone. He kept looking. A dried branch from a father tree was the best for starting heaven's fire. But he was hesitant to remove anything from these elders of Adama. Enoch sighed with exasperation at the dimming sky. None of these are right, and I do not have much longer. He dropped his sack with a thud to the ground. For truth, this will just have to snap. The hair on Enoch's arm stood on end as he twisted around sharply. What? Oh. Enoch let out a slow breath and smelled a father tree. Perfect. Anami stepped aside as the man came to get the limb he'd just snapped off the tree. Enoch walked swiftly towards the branch at the base of the father tree and dragged it beside him, searching. Now I just need to find. Go to your left. Oh. Enoch looked to his left and saw it. Your left. Oh. Enoch looked to his left and saw it. The rising ground there led to a small, rocky ledge. Large father trees almost hid the front completely, while the concave earthy top covered the crevice beneath, and the back was solid ground packed with stone. Enoch dropped to the ground and sniffed. He peered up and scanned the ground all around. Good. No tracks. No animals have made this their home. Enoch dragged the branch and his pack over to the site, unloaded it, and made his arrangements quickly. With a few strokes from a sharpened stone in his pack, he chopped the branch into a neat pile and stood back to admire heaven's fire ignited with the manta-heated rocks he'd brought along for the journey. Now Enoch pulled out the worn leather pouch from his sack and set the small jar of myrrh, the pouch of incense, and the smooth golden rod by the fire. Anami sat down cross-legged by the blazing element and stared at the human, who was kneeling and mumbling in some odd language. Strange. Why didn't he just start the fire the way he did at the ceremony? Anami looked around, lifted his bow from his pack, and placed it in his lap. He leaned in closer to Enoch. What? Anami wrinkled his nose and tried to decipher the words. Sounds like he said, Watcher, but in our tongue. He leaned in even between the tongue of Adam, the language of the Elohim, and something else. I can't make it out. It's just gibberish again. Anami sighed and plopped his back against the stone. Well, since he's busy, I might as well see if he brought it with him. Anami kept an eye on Enoch's back and a hand on his bow as he reached with his free hand for Enoch's pack. Anami, as he reached with his free hand for Enoch's pack. Anami deftly searched the bag so nothing jostled. Even though the man couldn't see him, he would notice his things moving around all by themselves. Yes, it's here. Anami eyed the container full of the liquid with delight. Ketu, my favorite. Anami smiled. Tease. Anami's brow twitched at the sensation. Light! In one move, he knelt in the second stance with bow drawn and arrow pointing toward the cause. In the next, he dropped to a deep bow as the tingling sensation traveling up his spine assured him this was no fallen. Anami could sense his aura shift to the multicolored spectrum. A bit wrong. My lord. Rise, Anami. Yes, my lord, said Anami, quickly standing to face the image of the Ancient One. Make haste for El Tava. Take Azam and Delmar, who wait for you, to the Seti of Seth. Yes, of course, my lord, said Anami with a quick bow, keeping his eyes lowered. Of course, my lord, said Anami with a quick bow, keeping his eyes lowered as he looked over at the man now laying face down on the ground. Did I fail? Why has my task changed? Anami turned to leave. He hesitated. Anami glanced over his shoulder and saw the beloved kneel down and place a hand on the man's head. Just then the beloved looked up. Anami swirled his back around to leave, ashamed that the revealing rainbow swirl of light was there again, noticing now that it shifted with his thoughts. Anami. Anami stopped immediately in mid-motion and did an about-face. Yes, my lord, said Anami, trying to control his flailing thoughts and the multitude of colors protruding from him. I like it too, said the beloved with a smile. I beg your pardon, my lord, said Anami. The Ketu, Anami. I like it too. Yes, my lord, said Anami, responding with a broad grin as he spun and soared away with a flash. Anami relished the short burst of cool as he sped towards El Tava. Normally he would have traveled as a son of Adam so as not to call attention to himself, as these humans unknowingly drifted in and out of perception. Be wise, be discreet, he remembered General Michael's first instructions. At times they see, and at others they are blind. But the beloved himself said, Delmar and Azam looked at each other simultaneously and then back up at the night sky as they recognized the loud whoop. Anami, they both said in unison. Normally, Captain Azam, said Delmar, I would not approve of such. Of such what? Not approve of such. Of such what? Called Anami loudly as he swirled by the tent and snatched the two of them up in a 90-degree angle with the touch of his hands. Of such you, said Delmar, shifting under the hand on his back. Save it, you two, warned Azam as he scanned the treetops whizzing by below them. But I must admire in order. Your zest came at a most opportune moment. Really, said Anami as he stopped midair, surprised at Captain Azam's unusual compliment. Lieutenant Anami? Yes, Captain Azam. You dropped something. Oh, said Anami as he looked down just in time to see Delmar crashing into the green bushy surface below. He immediately began a gentle descent, floating quietly as he held on tightly to the captain. Sorry, sir. Yes, Anami, said Captain Azam, stifling a chuckle as he saw Lieutenant Delmar below. Delmar righted himself and transformed almost instantly into his Adama covering, blending in perfectly with he was covered in thorns and bristles from the prickly patch beside him. He looked up, glaring. You did that on purpose. Say, said Amezrak, jerking sideways and clutching the cup of brew before it sloshed to the ground. Wasn't that Anami? Wasn't that Anami? Chum, you must be feeling the power of this drink, said Azazel. I didn't see a thing. No? Said Amezrak. I could have sworn I saw him. I thought I heard him. It was so clear, like he went right past me. Well, I can distinguish a voice at least 100 spaces away, said Azazel. And I would know if an Elohim stirred in my vicinity. Too true, said Captain Simjaza, lifting his mug to Azazel. I only have the best in my company, and Azazel, my friend, you are the best. Right that, said Azazel, knocking his mug into Simjaza's with a loud jaza. Anami's orders are to observe from Mount Arata, not to gallivant around as he pleases like a power. Simjaza looked around the camp and focused. Let me assure you, I do not pick up any signatures other than our own, and if Lieutenant Anami would be so bold as to break my orders, he would be punished severely. Amezrek, he would be punished severely. Amezrek looked around too. Relax, my friend, said Semjaza. Our comrades are following instructions as ordered. There is no need for alarm. I told them this was a special assignment for my elect. The rest are at their posts. My senses would tell me if it were otherwise. Indeed, it must be this mixture's strange effect on this suit of flesh, said Amezrek with a laugh and shake of his head. Amezrek sat alone as he watched Captain Semjaza and Azazel return to the open tent for more pleasures with their mates. He ignored the half-clad women sprawling about inside in plain view and the watchers getting to know again and again in his mind, recording them. The ceremony of union the daughters of Eve had insisted on ended hours ago. He'd watched with wonder along with the jubilant crowd as Captain Semjaza made the covenant with the woman called Naamah. It was followed with dancing, food, the pounding drums, and rhythmic melody of the timbrel. An intense sense of excitement filled El Tava. He joined in the celebration and singing gladly at first. Semjaza's triumphant glow after the consummation ignited the others. Azazel was next. He finished grinning like he always did after a confrontation. Why, chums, it is wonderful, said Azazel. Our captain has set us free indeed. Another watcher brought his bride to the tent with her father and the other elders of Cain standing around as onlookers. This happened again and again after the Elohim brought their mates forward. Amezrek thought that perhaps the Elohim were being too excessive and that so many needn't watch. He'd asked Captain Semjaza about it, and Semjaza said something about the covenant that it must have witnesses. He'd accepted his captain's answer, but when Captain Semjaza asked him if he would like to be next, slapping him on the arm with a grin, he'd declined. Captain Semjaza, I'll stand up this plan of our father. Instead, he'd watched and recorded. Some of the women were crying now. He turned away from the pitiful moans, pulling the hood of his cloak over his head to block the view. He'd seen a few of the young girls slip away and run into the dark of the bush when their fathers' backs were turned. The men had been so engrossed in the unions in the tent, they hadn't even noticed. Amezrek said nothing. That's when he saw it, the look on some of the men's faces. It was like looking at two faces in one. One face human, the other face horrible, yet somehow familiar. He looked again at a few of the brides who now curled up into balls in a heap on the floor, pleading for an end to the ceremony of union. But it wasn't that way with all of the women. Some were like the first, Naamah. She reveled in it and the attention. He stared at her when she wasn't looking. Semjaza had stared at her when she wasn't looking. Semjaza had chosen well. She was beautiful. He kept gazing at her, enraptured with her appearance. Just then, she looked up at him and laughed. He caught his breath and glanced away. He could hear her laughing at him. It was there. He was sure of it. The other was there. He was sure of it. The other face. That's when he decided to take up a position near the fire, away from the others, away from the tent. Amezrek sat back on the firm earthen step by the fire and looked up towards the smooth paved incline leading out of El Tava to the Seti of Nod. I am glad on the lumpy step and surveyed the area until he found him. Ah, there he is. He saw Captain Semjaza bounding up the steps towards the pillars, carrying Naamah in his arms. Looks like he's headed back to his own quarters. Perhaps I could return to Mount Arata to see what the others know. Maybe. Then, louder this time, the pitiful moans. The full moon now moved towards the west. Sun's birth will arrive soon. Amezrek opened the satchel he kept at his side and pulled out a variety of vines, leaves, and roots he'd been collecting. He mashed them carefully into a paste and held it over the fire. Mount Arata will have to wait. These daughters will be in need of the wisdom that heals. Indeed they will. Enoch, rise. What was that? Enoch breathed heavily, brushing the dirt and tears from his face as he pushed up from the ground onto his knees. Normally this would be a bad omen. The night creatures were never without sound, unless for some good reason. He grabbed the short, sharp blade bound to his thigh. Enoch, rise. There it is again. I thought I heard someone call me. Enoch stood up, looked all around, and then peered into the dark woods past the light. There it is again. I thought I heard someone call me. Enoch stood up, looked all around, and then peered into the dark woods past the line of father trees surrounding him. Enoch. A bright light illuminated the woods. Enoch fell back, dropping the dagger, dazed. He closed his eyes and then opened them again. The woods speak. That can't be. I just got here. Enoch, called the voice again. Enoch shielded his eyes and stared at the blurry figure in the center of the light. He felt the burning sensation again returning. It flowed through him like lava, burning and cutting everything away. Still, he could not look away. He could not look away. He was drawn to that light. Somehow it was lessening, or either he was becoming more. Now he could clearly make out the form of a man standing in front of him. The image was fuzzy, but it was definitely a man. The man stretched out a hand towards him. Enoch hesitated. Oh, said Enoch, surprised that his knees trembled and weakened. He tried to regain his balance and bow again, but instead he merely collapsed at the feet of the image. My Lord, son of Adam, be at peace. The hand tightened around him, pulling him up again. Enoch felt the burning wove through him like wiry cords, strengthening his limbs as it tore through him. It traveled up and around his torso, through his neck, and finally burst through his head with a pop. Enoch tilted his head to one side and then the other. He could hear everything. The sound of a cricket on the far side of the forest calling to the others of its kind. Someone somewhere was whispering and laughing at a childling too fussy for rest. The thunder of horses galloping wildly away as some creature disturbed their watering hole filled his head. A woman cried. Two men were speaking in low tones. He heard countless other sounds and conversations, blending, mixing, becoming one, and then distinct head and looked at the one. How? For now you hear as I hear. Understand, for it will not always be so. Enoch squinched his eyes and furrowed his brows as if the motion could make him understand this newness. The beloved laughed. Enoch, relax. I did not mean you would have to make him understand this newness. The beloved laughed. Enoch, relax. I did not mean you would have to understand it alone. Come with me. I will show you, said the image, stretching out his hand again. Enoch took his hand. Ah! Enoch clutched the hand for dear life as his other limbs wavered uncontrollably. They were hovering, or was it flying? No, maybe they were standing in nothingness. Where are we? We are here. Where is here? Here is where I am. Yes, we are here, but I mean, what is this place? This place is where we were. Now we are nowhere. This is nothing. No, Enoch, said the beloved as he touched the man's eyes. Look again. Enoch stumbled backwards as images began to swirl around him. It was everything. He saw the outline of the 7 hills, his tent in the City of Seth. He saw Tafar with her bow drawn. The 12 City of Seth. He saw Tafar with her bow drawn. The 12 pillars of El Tava came into view. Then the moon drew nigh, so close he could touch it, followed by swirling balls of light speeding through blackness, streams of foggy vapor in blues, purples, pinks, and colors he could not name, illuminated the darkness and clustered together. The sky brushed his skin, leaving it damp. Solid crystal towers appeared before him, with throngs of glorious ones walking among their spiraling stairs. A clear lake flowed through the center, leading to a magnificent structure. Enoch leaned forward to peer through its doors. He reached out to grab the handle and pull it, but it faded at his touch. Instead, coarse bark grazed his fingertips. As he stood dumbfounded before a towering father tree, Enoch swung around. They were back in Avalan Forest. My lord, said Enoch with his mouth gaping, what happened? Where did we go? Son of Adam, said the image. He's been. Yes, but understand. At first you heard as I hear. Then for a moment you saw as I see. My lord, but there was nothing, and then there was everything. Yes, but where did it all come from? It has always been in me. In you? Yes. It has always been in me. In you? Yes. But how? How can everything that is be in you? If that is the truth, then you mean to tell me that even though I am, Right here with you and standing in Avonland Forest, I mean everything is here in you? Yes. Yes. But well, then why did you tell me to come here to meet you? You could have just come to me again. Good, Enoch, you are reasoning, and you are correct. I could have just come, as you like to call it, although that is not really how it happens to you again. But I did not because it would have been disruptive to your Lovett laughed and touched the crinkled skin in between Enoch's brows. Of course, it is difficult for you to understand sequence because you are in it. Enoch's shoulders sagged. The beloved smiled again. Do not worry, Enoch. I will increase your understanding, for you will need it in the days to come. Aha, said Enoch triumphantly. You said come. I heard you. Aha, said Enoch triumphantly. You said come. I heard you. I thought you said that is not what you do. True, I did. Let me explain. Enoch, you and all your kinsmen, the people of Adama, live in sequence, an arrangement of rhythm and order. You are born into sequence and are bound by it. I do not live in sequence, although I created it. Well, where do you live? I am the where. Enoch put a hand to his head, pressed his lips together, and began pacing again. The beloved laughed again. Think of it this way. You can experience me most fully at the outer realm, beyond all is now. Which brings me to the answer to your question about coming. I am also the now, Enoch, and everything exists in me in the now, even though you do not perceive it that way. So for you, days are coming. But for me, all the days that are coming to you have already been and still are. And still are. Enoch stopped pacing abruptly and faced the beloved wide-eyed. But you said you do not interfere in our sequence. So if that is true, then why did you come to me? I made you aware of my presence, Enoch, because you called out to me. That is what I do. I am always here at every point in not only men living now and in your future. You sought me. If a man seeks me, I will increase his perception so that he becomes aware of my presence. So then you say I came to you, when really I was already with you and you are already in me. Enoch thought about this for a moment, opened his mouth as if to speak, then shut it tightly. Do not be afraid. You may speak freely. Well, I was thinking, was that how it was with Father Adam before he was aware? Yes, Enoch. Adam lived in continual awareness of me. Enoch rubbed his upper lip, shook his pacing back and forth again. So, at the ceremony of the bearer, when the heaven's fire came down and consumed the sacrifice, that was you answering? No, Enoch, that was you. Enoch stepped back in disbelief. But I am not the ancient. No, of course you are not, said the beloved, laughing again. No, of course you are not, said the beloved, laughing again. I allowed you to access my power. But why? You sought me, remember, before the ceremony? Yes, the heat, the burning, that was you coming, making me aware. Not only that, but giving you power. Why? I have often been with you and shared my power. Why do you think you are able to run so fast, track so well, still speak with the animals? Oh, that is you? I thought it was the one mind. That is what Father Adam and the elders call it. Yes, indeed they do, said the beloved, shaking his head. Most of the elders lost their ability. All they remember is the power, the sensation, but not me. Well, how is it that I can hear you, speak to you, and not the others? Why am I different? Enoch, you are different because you listen. When you call out to me, you expect something to happen, even though you are not always aware of my presence. Your expectation creates a gate, a bridge that increases your ability to receive my presence. But I thought you said that when I call on you, you increase my ability to perceive you. Yes, that's right, but I will not force myself on anyone. You must give me access. Same. When that happens, when we agree, when we commune, you begin to understand me. As your understanding increases, your capacity to use the abilities I originally gave Adam are increased. Enoch stopped pacing and stared at the beloved. He opened his mouth to speak, shut it firmly, frowning, and then started pacing again. So, at the ceremony of the bearer, when the fire came down, that was me? Yes, in a sense. You called out to me and I responded. I agreed with you. Enoch stopped again. Remember what I said to you that eve? I told you to watch, listen, speak. When you said, if I am speaking truth, may the Ancient One consume, I heard you and you accessed my presence and my power. Then when you spoke, you received the fruit of your words, just as I do when I speak. Are you telling me that heaven's fire came down just because I told it to? Yes. That does not make is open. Just a moment ago in your sequence, you saw everything and nothing at the same time. How was that possible? Enoch was silent for a while. He began pacing again. I do not know. It is possible because everything that you see is created from what you cannot see. He began pacing again. I do not know. It is possible because everything that you see is created from what you cannot see. Enoch swung around wildly looking. Where is it now? I told you it cannot be seen, but it is always present. Well then, what makes it seen? Thing I can see. You tell me. How did you make heaven's fire come down? I did what you told me to. I watched, I listened, and I spoke. Yes, but what did you speak and what did you expect when you spoke? That's the key. Well, I said what was supposed to happen all along. And I remember imagining it happening in my mind. That is, I really was wishing it would happen. Yes, you spoke according to the sequence already established. You knew that I always answer by fire and consume an acceptable sacrifice. You really believed it would happen. Then you agreed with the words you spoke. Well then, if you agree with me, then that means you do not agree with Tubal-Cain and those sons of, are they really who they say they are? They speak the truth. Semjaza and the others are my sons. They are Elohim. But they say that they are the seed, that they will fulfill the prophecy. Is that true? No, it is not. Their desire to do so comes from their will, not mine. And now their confusion has disturbed the sequence. The sequence? For truth, I do not understand. This is why I have brought you here and increased your understanding. Now it is complete. The sequence has balance. Go home. The beloved turned and began walking away. Wait, called out Enoch, reaching towards him. Balance? What do you mean? What am I supposed to do? I told the tribe I was coming here to gain wisdom. The beloved stopped and turned. He smiled. That is for you to decide. Remember, see as I see, hear as I hear, and speak as I speak. But what about? Enoch dropped his arms. He was gone. Well, it is too late for more questions now. He looked around the dimming woods that still weren't as dark as they should be. For truth, why didn't I ask him about this before he left? Enoch plopped down by the fire and began packing his things. Well, he said go home. What, praise the light, am I supposed to do about these? Enoch held his arms in front of him once again, staring. The glow, the aura was back, even stronger than before, lighting up the forest around him. He knew without looking that it was coming from his entire being. Enoch rubbed his stomach as if the motion would ease the burning. Will you send him alone then? You know the fallen abound. Yes, I know. General Michael's seat exploded with light as he took his seat beside the beloved. He will be attacked. Should we prevent this thing from the man Enoch? No. Let us see if the man can fully access the gate, even in his veiled state. And if he cannot, what then, my lord? All is well, General. I am confident he will choose the proper sequence. And what of a Mezarach? Shall we wait? You accessed my gift then. You saw the possibility. I believe his tendency is strong. It is strong. Since duality is present, we wait. Yes, my lord. And the others? Their outcome is sure. Let the sequence